In this brief video, I want to take a moment and show you how you might make a map using your images from your ArcGIS Online map to create something worthy of printing to hang in a map gallery, to display at your school or another public place, or to print a map that you can give out to people for whatever your project was designed for. So rather than trying to print a map that looks like this image here in the center, perhaps we would create a map that looks more like this. And I'm going to show you how you can create a map like this using images from your ArcGIS Online. In fact, that is how this one was done, but we captured images, we created the map layout itself in PowerPoint. So let me jump over real quickly to the ArcGIS Online map that this was created from, and let's look at a couple of things. As you know, if you want to print this map, there's a couple of things you might do. You might want to show your legend rather than all the names of all the layers, and that would help a little bit. Let's turn one more off so that you would only display what you really need your users to know. But if you try to print this using the tools in your browser, you'll come up with something like that. That's not a good map for display purposes. Let's close that. You might try the print tools that are built into ArcGIS Online, and it'll create something that can be printed, yes, but again, this will not be a very good map. And here's what it's created. So it is the map image, the title, and the subtitle, and it lists a few things down here. But for the purposes of a map contest, it's missing quite a lot of information. The first thing we need to do is open PowerPoint and create a layout that is the size we want our map to be printed in the final product. We need to set the paper size first so that everything else will fit nicely. So we click on Design, go to Page Setup, and we set a custom paper size, and I'm going to set it to the maximum size allowed for our contest, which is 40 inches by 30 inches. That is a standard foam core poster size, and that's what we're going to go with. Anything over that won't fit the poster. Okay, so we set that. And let's tell it we want our layout to be a blank layout so that we don't have all the other titles on there. So now we have our paper set for us to use. Now remember, we want to print so that it's a high quality, and we can print 150 dots per inch or pixels per inch, and it will be pretty sharp. 300 would be better, but the file sizes for our pictures will get very, very large. Now at this screen size that we're looking at here, the full screen is 1280 by 720, and at 150 pixels per inch, that's going to be more on the order of about 8 inches by 6 inches, which would be very small if we pasted that in there. So what we want to do is capture higher resolution images for use in our map. There are several ways that we can capture images from our map. The simplest way is to hit the print screen button on your keyboard, and it will capture an image of the entire computer screen. Now I'm only using part of a large monitor here, so if I do that, I'm going to have several inches of stuff around the edge that I don't want to use. But there is a software program called Screen Hunter, which is free, and it allows us to capture only the area of the image that we're interested in. Now to capture the images, what we want to do is we want to use as much of the screen size as we can. So we'll send the legend over out of the way right now, and we have more of our screen available. I would like to capture from the northern border to the southern border and from the west to the east with a little bit beyond each. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to zoom up a little bit. We want to make sure that we don't get too far over to miss this part. Now we're going to just slide the image down until we know that we're north of the northern border of Ethiopia. And this line right across here, let's back out just a little bit, make sure we're finding it. Okay, so we got to go a little bit further. Okay, so Eritrea, there we go. So now we've found the northern edge. Okay, so let's let the thing have time to refresh here. Okay, and what we'll do is use the Screen Hunter to capture this image. I don't want that in there, and I don't want the Esri logo necessarily, but I'll catch part of it here. Okay, every time I capture the image, it puts it into a file folder so we can use it easier. The other thing is it's also in clipboard, so we can go right here and we can paste it in. We'll slide that one up there. Okay, so now let's just grab right along here and let's slide it up. We'll just keep repeating this process until we have captured, whoops, let's get our cursor out of the way, until we've captured all of the image. Here we go. Sometimes you just have to try again and again until you get everything right. So we'll capture this. We'll go over here, paste it in. We'll put them in the places about where they need to go. Let's slide up. Whoops, didn't mean to zoom in. Zoom back out. F6. Capture the image and paste it in. Now I'm not going to go through the process of capturing all of it, but let's zoom in now to this location. Zoom in 100% so that we can see what we really have here. Okay, so you can see we have overlapping images. We might should have waited a little longer for that one to catch up to us. But you'll see what we can do then. We can start sliding these images in and overlapping them until we have them fitting properly. There we go, right there. Now if we zoom out a little bit, you can see how we have now tiled these images together somewhat, and we just keep assembling it until we have it. If we have a section of the map that we want to crop off, go Format, Crop, and you can trim off the edge of the image just like that. Fairly simple to do. Keep doing it until you have all your images in place. The most important thing for us to try to remember over here is let's don't zoom in and out while we're doing. Keep everything at the same scale until we're done. And the last thing we want to make sure we catch here is a copy of the scale bar at that same zoom level. So we'll grab it right here, and then we will paste it into our map as well, and then we will be able to slide it into the right place. The next thing we need to do is make sure that we capture the legend from our map. So let's click Details and open the legend back up, and we're going to use that same screen capture, F6 on Screen Hunter, and we'll capture this, make sure we have all the symbols at least and enough of the writing to understand it. Now we've captured that. Let's go back over to our map, View, Zoom to Fit, and let's paste it in there somewhere. Okay, we'll just slide it over here somewhere out of the way, and we'll zoom into that. And now, what I'm going to do is make 2 copies of this, and I'll show you how you can assemble your own custom legend. So we make a copy, and we paste it, and use the crop tool to bring this one down. Whoops, not that. We want to crop down to just the symbols. Crop this one down to just the words and the symbols. Okay, now we want to fix this, so one way we can do that is by inserting a text box. We'll put a text box here, and we'll type those same words in. We'll need to change our font size to something much smaller. So let me slide it over so you can see. Airport, lodging, buildings, restaurants, research sites, other locations. Now, I'm going to make this box, format the shape so that the box has a solid white background. And I'm going to slide it over the top of the other one. And we need to make our font just a little bit bigger perhaps. There, that's pretty close. We can tweak it a little bit. So now we have those two things. We'll group them together so that they always stay together and go with each other. Really, on the map that we're making, we're not going to show the line, so I'm going to delete that. Now, let's create us another square here. We'll make its background white also, and we'll give it a black line around it. I want to give it a little bit of a shadow effect also. We need to send it to the back. Now we have our box for our legend. We have our legend symbols. Okay. I see I messed up. Let's relocate things. That looks pretty good. And we're going to insert a word here that says locations visited. That's quite large. Let's make it maybe about 12 point. A little bit bigger. Make it bold. And we'll slide it down here and we'll make our box fit. Now we'll capture all these. We'll group them. Now we have a legend. Okay, so now that we've created our legend and we've copied some map panels, if we continue on doing the map panels and tiling them together and cropping them and making them fit, we could end up with something that might look about like this. We have a map of the entire country of Ethiopia, and we have our legend. But there's a few other things you need on your map in order to have a good map. First thing it should have is a title. So I created a name for this one: Fertilizer Research Locations in Ethiopia, Developing Sustainable Fertilizer Recommendations. Of course, to give credit to the partners, we need to include our partner agency, and of course we need to take credit for our own work. Now in the 4-H GIS contest, it needs to have UT Extension because we are the sponsor of 4-H in Tennessee, and it should have the 4-H Clover logo. And you can download those from their websites if you need help. Contact your county extension agent or me and we can get you a copy of it. You may or may not need the north arrow in your map. Most people might assume that north is up on the piece of paper, but it doesn't hurt to put it in there. We have our scale bar down here that we included earlier. Another item that's very important to put, and I'm going to zoom in so that you can see it, is what is the coordinate system. If you're using ArcGIS Online, the coordinate system is WGS 1984 Web Mercator. So you need to put that in there so that people understand what the arrangement of your map is, because the coordinate system is how we fitted that spherical surface of the earth onto a flat piece of paper. And if you have it in one thing and they assume something else, it might be somewhat confusing. Okay, so we have our legend down here. Let me show you this box. Let me zoom in. Now I created this map in a hurry, and I basically said this is an example map that I created for you, gave who I am. The print layout was created in PowerPoint using images captured from the ArcGIS Online map. By all means, please include the URL directly to your map. Let me show you how you find that. Let's go over to our map. There's the share button. Okay, so for everyone in the world to be able to see it, you need to check that it's everyone, and then you copy this map URL and paste it in there. If you want to get fancy, there are websites that will allow you to create the QR codes that can be read by barcode scanners on your cell phones and so forth. So let's go back over to our map now and zoom back out. And I think we have almost all the things that you might need for a map. Remember, your map is to tell a story and communicate a message. This map in the 4-H GIS contest is not meant to be a research poster that tells the whole story of how you made the map and why you made it. This is your end product that shows what it might be. So it could be a map of bicycle trails, fishing locations, historical sites, water sampling locations, areas that were flooded during a major flood. Where are the hurricane, well, in the coastal areas, where are the hurricane shelters? In our part of the world, where are the shelters that we might use when someone is displaced from the home due to an ice storm? Whatever your service learning project is for your community, your map should tell the story. The rest of your information, how you made it, why you selected the project, what data you used, and so forth, goes in your report, and it goes in your videotape interview that you post for us. Best wishes. I hope to see your map soon, and I hope that you win a prize.